competition. And I'd like to congratulate all the awardees here tonight. And I'm thrilled to inform you that Rich Bowlen, our winner, has generously donated his $10,000 prize to adoption and foster care mentoring right here in the city of Boston.
Quite an honor. So I was overwhelmed by some of the things that I've learned and seen here this evening. Good evening, my name is Rich Bowlen, and I serve as the Director of Protective Services for Northwoods, which is a little company based in Dublin, Ohio. And I can't tell you how pleased I am to accept this award on behalf of our entire team. Upon learning of the other projects and nominees, such as the Opportunity Space, Handicap Parking Permit Application System, the Independent Risk Manager, and one of my favorites was City Hall to Go as well, that I mentioned here this evening, it was very humbling to everyone in our office because they were all amazing and incredible projects that seemed to share that same spirit of really doing good work in the communities that everyone cares so much about. So before I share a little bit about our project, I want to take a brief moment to share my appreciation as well for a couple of the extraordinary people with Pioneer Institute that have been a tremendous help to me as we were going through this process. Many of them already mentioned Mary Connaughton, Matt Blackburn, Michaela Dawson, Liam Day, and especially Shawnee Littlewale. So thank you. I also want to thank the Pioneer Institute. I know they've been thanked a lot tonight, but just for creating this competition. Because of this, it's this type of thought leadership that inspires innovators to really continuously challenge the status quo, that good enough simply isn't good enough. And it's because of competitions like this that drive people to keep finding ways to do better. So I was first drawn to this federal government competition out of a shared belief that innovative minds and creative and inspired spirits have the ability to influence change that can actually result in effective and efficient service to those vulnerable citizens that need it that much. It's a belief that I, as well as our entire company, has embraced, and it's what led us to the creation of our product, which we call Compass Copilot. Still, when something remarkable happens to you, like getting such a great recognition such as this, it causes you to look back. And so, for me, looking back meant I would share a story with you from when I started as a social worker. And so this journey that led us to today, for me, started 25 years ago when I knocked on my first door as a social worker, doing protective services work. As I was doing that, I was very excited as a social worker. I was going to go out and change and save the world, one child at a time. And so one of my assignments that I had was to go out to an elementary school, and I was going to have to pick up a little girl named Betsy. Betsy was in first grade, and her home situation had become so unsafe that we needed to find a safe place for her that evening. So I went to school, got Betsy, and brought her with me to our agency. And being the good, diligent worker that I was going to make sure that all my paperwork was done. I was going to get her case plan done, I was going to get her safety plan done, I was going to request clothing for her, I was going to have her release of information, her transfer of school records, and on and on and on, all those documents. So while I was sitting there doing that work, I had Betsy sitting in my cubicle in the chair. All right? And every now and then, I would say, "So Betsy, how was school?" and do those type of things. But I'm getting that paperwork. There's mounds and mounds that were going to take days for me to complete. I had filed court. I didn't need to be in court the next morning. There's another whole section of packet of court information. So as I finally got done, I was all excited. I was going to take Betsy to this foster home that she had never been before. Betsy hadn't made a word. When I turned around, and this is something that I carry with me every day, this was on Betsy's chest. The mark on the top of her paper is where the paper dissolved in her mouth because I wasn't paying attention to her. She was crying and trying to stop herself from crying because she was upset. My attention should have been on Betsy, not on all of this other stuff. But that's what was demanded. That's what was prioritized. Meet the mandates, make sure that you hit all of those things because you were going to be asked for them first thing in the morning. As a result of that situation, and I carried Betsy, and this card has made it a lot of years, but it stays with me on my desk every day to remind me that that's what our social workers that are going out in the homes, this is where they want their focus to be. Not on all those things that are taking their attention away from family, stopping them from being able to assess and really understand the family that's sitting in front of them. As a result of that situation, I vowed that I would never again let the bureaucratic demands of compliance and mandates insist that these redundant, repetitive mounds of paperwork be prioritized over the needs of a child's right or the rights of a family. Instead, the focus was going to be on accountability. My accountability to that child, our agency's accountability to the taxpayers of our community, and helping a family be accountable to their own children so they can take care of their own children. And unfortunately, this discipline that I so eagerly ran to around college and during my college years had a very unfair paradox waiting for me. It was one that every protective service worker to this day still faces. And that is, it's the dilemma of, do I spend as much time as I can in the field seeing the child who is depending on me to offer them safety and protection, or do I use nearly all of my time to write, type, print, copy, sort, and organize a paper trail that's supposed to help show all of the work that I should be doing out in the field? So our thought at Northwoods was, what if we flip that telescope around? What if instead of asking officials to keep throwing bodies at the problem and keep creating more and more documents to serve as evidence of what they were doing to families, what if instead we just listened to the children and the families and the social workers that were out in the field on what it was that they needed? What if we built it from their perspective and came back this way and used technology to say, all of these things that they're doing, why can't you use that to meet those mandates and compliance things? Let the social workers do the social work and understand the families. Maybe we could increase safety, improve outcomes by doing those type of things. What if we build a tool that allowed protective service workers to be so focused completely and totally on engaging the family, and they could assure the highest standard of quality service and safety while they were still collecting the documents and completing all those forms and capturing all the photos and all the information that they needed. So thankfully, those that you heard mention that there's almost 400 workers now across the U.S. that are helping some of this transformation take place. Recently, we were in Minnesota where there was one of the protective social workers had been using our product to serve a family. As pleased as we were here to hear from her, how much more she felt prepared when she was going out to meet the family, or how she had appreciated having a better understanding of what she was walking into. It was what one of her families had shared with us that made a huge difference for us. The worker was actually working with this family who had been waiting to adopt a child that they'd been fostering for some time. The child had been diagnosed with autism, and the mom, the birth mother, was only sporadically and minimally trying to comply with some of the agency's things. This resulted in a bunch of very intricate complexities that the worker was trying to solve. She had to document all those things. And she had to keep sharing that information. And so she was falling further and further behind, which was delaying permanency for the child. So it wasn't long after she was able to start using our Compass Copilot that I don't want to ruin the end of the story, but the now adoptive mom called the social worker supervisor and shared, hey, thank you for providing this tool to your social workers. Because she was able to obtain and process all that paperwork and all those forms while she was in the home, interacting with the child, engaging the family, the amount of time that it took to achieve permanency was greatly reduced. In another situation, we were in Wisconsin, and a protective service social worker was sitting in the courtroom about to receive emergency custody of a child. And the social worker told us, she said that before I had this product, I would need to call the office and say, can you please arrange for a foster home? I do not have time to run to the office and comb through 200 or 300 pages of a case file and hope that information might be there that might help me. She was just now getting her own bedseat off of the bench. She had a traumatized child that she was going to need to find a home for. Instead, what she was able to do is, while they were finishing the court hearing, she was able to use this product to locate a relative, identify them, make sure that they were approved for placement, and the child then went straight to a home where there were familiar faces. And we didn't have to increase the trauma that the child was already enduring. The last story that I have real quick is from a mom that actually saw one of our team members in the lobby when we were down there. We were in the middle of implementing and doing the training for the staff there on how to use this product. And one of the moms said, stopped one of our team members and said, hey, I know how paperwork intense their job is because they give me a lot of papers. But I saw what it was like before and what it's like now, and it's so much better now. And that's what it was really about for us, is just leaving today a little bit better than we found it. For us in Northwoods and our company, what we do is nowhere near as important as why we do it. So I'd like to end by sharing with you the way 8-year-old Andrew, who's the son of our CTO, describes who we are. He said, you guys are the people who help the people who need help. And that's what we work at every day. We let the technology figure out the other things, and we just stay focused at that 3-foot level where that situation is taking place. I hope all of you continue to have a great evening. Thank you so much for this honor, and thank you.